So, hi everyone, and thank you for attending today. And today we are going to talk about 5G. But not anything about 5G. We are at an open source conference today, right? So what interests us the most today is obviously how 5G and open source relate. But first of all, what is 5G? Isn't it a mess full of proprietary stuff? Well, I guess if every phone can connect to any mobile network, there must be some kind of open standards, right? And if it's an open standard, isn't there at least a random Jude or Judette who implemented the specification over their weekend and made it open source? Well, spoiler alert, there is. So everything is perfect, right? Nope, because open source can circumvent patents, right? Well, we shall see. But first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Valentin Desmanuel, and I will be your host. So I am a 24 years old mobile core network engineer at Freemobile. So the company I work for Free, as was said before, is the second biggest ESP in France after Orange, which currently hosts us today. So at Freemobile, my main role is in operating a part of free mobile network, as well as developing some of our mobile network components. I'm also a contributor to a few open source 5G projects. So the main one being Packet Rusher, which is a project I had previously created when working for Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So it is basically a benchmark and fusing tool for 5G core software. So thanks to it, multiple issues were found and fixed in the several open source 5G core project that I'm going to present just after. So first of all, what is 5G? Well, 5G is one of the very latest buzzwords in the telecom world. In other fields, you have artificial intelligence, and in the telecom world, we have 5G. So 5G is the fifth generation of mobile network. So it's a new global standard following on from 4G. So it defines a new type of mobile network designed to connect everything. So if you listen to marketer, it is to connect all human beings, objects, machines, and devices. But basically, 5G is thought to deliver a higher data rate with lower latency and greater reliability. So the mobile telecommunication industry had long been plagued by proprietary hardware, software, and protocol, leading to significant challenges both for providers but also for consumers. And in protocol, even while they are standards, they are often modified with unique extensions from vendors, which make operators essentially locked into using one vendor suite of products because it would be way too expensive to change to another vendor. So furthermore, before 5G, the protocol and technology being used were vastly different from what was used in the rest of the IT sector. But thankfully, with 5G, we switched to things way more common, like HTTP REST API for mobile component, which obviously made entry by small actors like open source developers much easier. So, as I mentioned earlier, you obviously need some kind of standard for all mobile phone to be able to work with all mobile network operator in the world. So back at the beginning of mobile telecom, there were two standards, GSM and CDMA1. GSM was originally standardized by the ETSI organization and mostly used in Europe, and CDMA1 was originally made by Qualcomm and mostly used in the United States. So these two standards are incompatible. So for example, if you were to grab an old 2G phone from the United States and you were to bring it in France, it wouldn't work because it used the CDMA1 standard, which was never deployed in France. Then 3G standardization started, and two big organization bodies were created. So the 3GPP created by ETSI based upon the technology of GSM, and the organization between CDMA1 created another standard organization created with the very creative name of 3GPP2. So in the end, the 3GPP standards are what ended up being used for 3G, and now all the most used standards like 4G LTE and 5G come from 3GPP. So if 5G is an open standard and is made of technologies much more common than 3G and LTE, then we must have some kind of open source project implementing 5G, right? Well, we do. And we are going to see them right now. But also an interesting point to note is that what is currently deployed by each mobile network operator in France and mostly in Europe in the world is a 5G radio with an existing 4G core network. And because this is what brings the most quickly advantages to customer, and that's why it was what was deployed first. As such, the next step of 5G deployment in mobile networks is 5G radio with 5G core networks. And as such, today we are mostly going to talk about 5G core network because it is the most cutting edge topic and not about 5G radio. So 5G core as a whole are all the little software components, basically microservices, which all single-handedly handle a little part of 5G mobile network features. So such as authentication, SMS, data traffic, and all kinds of things. So the first one of this project is Free 5G Core, which as its name alludes to, is a free 5G core. So the main developer behind this project are the researchers and students from the prestigious NICU University in Taiwan. So this project aims to provide a fully functional 5G core network that can be used both for academic research, testing, but also for commercial purposes, notably thanks to its permissive licensing. So Free 5G Core supports the very first 5G standard set by the 3GPP release 15, but the developers are iterating very fast and are set to release, I think, very soon an update that will upgrade the compliance of their software to the latest 3GPP release. Also, one of the unique free 5G core features that is not seen in the other open source 5G core is the support of Wi-Fi interworking. So Wi-Fi interworking is very important in 5G and notably for private 5G use cases. So basically it allows you for session continuity and no interruption in your traffic while you switch from Wi-Fi and your mobile network. Also, an interesting point to note is that Free 5G Core is integrated in several of the mobile telecom projects of the Open Network / now the Linux Foundation. So this project notably received several government grants. And then we have the Open 5G CS project. So from the amazing South Korean developer Seok-Chan Lee, who almost single-handedly developed both an open source 4G and 5G network. So it's been developed since 2017, and it is under the AGPL v3 license. So its notable feature is being the only open source core network that is supporting roaming. So basically it allows Open 5Gs to interconnect with other 5G core network. And now the last project I wanted to mention today is Open Air Interface. So on the paper, it's a project backed by the most people. So it was initially started by the French engineering school Eurocom, and they made a software alliance, and many of the traditional telco companies joined in over the years. So what is really interesting about this project is it is almost the full 5G stack. So it contains both the software to run a 5G radio, as well as the software to run the 5G core network. But Oh yes, before also a small project I wanted to mention is the Magma project from Facebook. So the idea behind this project are pretty innovative. So basically Facebook took everything from the 3GPP standard and put them in the bin and only kept the required 3GPP interfaces to communicate with the radio and other mobile network. So it allows them to have a much slimmer core network than if they had implemented 4GPP standards, but of course this does have a few trade-offs. So I mentioned the Magma project here because it uses a few components from OpenAir interface. But back to OpenAir interface. So earlier I did not mention the license, but there is an issue with the license. So outside of the license proliferation issue, the OpenAir interface software uses the open software open interface public license. So outside of the license proliferation issue, it's the organization is claiming that it's an open source license when it is in fact not. So the license is a slightly modified Apache 2.0 license, but the modification is pretty big. So contributors can submit to the project contributions which are covered under their own patent and which are not automatically granted to the user. So these patents are made available to the user under special terms, which we are going to explain later, but it's not really open source. So what are the points of having a software under a so-called free license if patent effectively prevent you to use the software as if it were truly free? Well, we got great things out of the European Union, and not only USB-C port on our phones. So thanks to the law in France and Europe, projects such as VLC are legal. So we are at an open source conference, so I'm sure you all know VLC, but just as a reminder, VLC is one of the biggest success stories of the open source world and is a major player software. Well, so why am I talking about VLC in a 5G talk? Well, do you remember when back in the days before VLC, you had to download a lot of codec pack to watch videos or listen to music on your computer? And did you ever wonder why with VLC you never had this issue and it allowed you to play everything without installing any codec? Well, it's because VLC violates and implements a lot of protocols that are patented. But it's actually totally legal for VLC to do so, as software patents are illegal in France and in Europe, and since a VLC non-profit organization Videolan is based in France, well, it's legal for them to do so. So can I use OpenAir interface software disregarding the patents? Well, no, because I'm not a lawyer, so you should consult yours, but also OpenAir interface implements radio protocol which do not really fall under this kind of laws. So, but the issue is much bigger than just OpenAir interface. Actually, each little bit of the standards are themselves patented by the biggest telco companies. So, as Simon said in one of his blog posts, you cannot actually implement the HCI standards, so which include 3GPP and therefore 5G, without buying a license from the largest telco companies. So what's the point in building the stuff yourself if you have to get a license from the vendor you are trying to avoid anyway? Well, actually, the contribution from these big telco companies are accepted into the standards only if they accept to license their patent to third parties under what is called fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms. But let me ask you, what does constitute fair and reasonable? Is something fair and reasonable for big companies like Apple will also be reasonable for the Open 5G developer who is working alone? Well, there is actually a database on the HCI website listing all the patents that cover some part of its standards. But the big issue is that the big telco companies have to declare themselves the patent they own, and it is not mandatory at all for them to do so. So yes, patents are yet another hurdle for 5G open source project. So open source project risk litigation if they infringe on patent, and as such, this very big risk can deter developers from participating in open source 5G project, especially with things like patent trolls, which are always around the corner. So, what are the solutions? Well, one of the solutions is the creation of patent pools where members agree to cross-license patent to each other or to the community. For instance, there is the Open Invention Network where their members acquire patents and offer them royalty-free to encourage open source development. But is there another solution, maybe changing the law? Well, that's it for my talk. So I was happy to show you some of the great open source projects that have been cooked in the 5G world. But as we have seen, there remains a consequent legal risk for both the developer and, yes, the users, because open source software comes with no warranties. So yes, this risk needs to be evaluated. So I hope you enjoyed my talk, and feel free to ask me questions, or if you are a bit short, you can ask me questions later. Thanks, everyone.